Sirah Course, Episode 3. Before the arrival of Islam, life in the Arabian Peninsula was filled with immorality and disbelief. The powerful would often exploit the weak, and idol worship was rampant. The concept of family ties was not very strong nor progressive. It was a widespread practice to bury female newborns out of a sense of shame and weakness. However, all of these practices were gradually eradicated by the advent of Prophet Muhammad's prophethood. Although Prophet Muhammad was born and raised in such times, his purity of natural disposition prevented him from following the norms of his surroundings. He would periodically climb up to a cave in Mount Hira, 4 kilometers from the Kaaba, in order to isolate himself for weeks on end. He would only come down from there to replenish essentials and return back to the cave to continue spending time in solitude. It is in this cave that angel Gabriel, first appeared to him and asked him to read. That was the start of his prophethood. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, "Indeed, there has come to you from Allah a light and a clear book by which Allah guides those who pursue His pleasure to the ways of peace, and He brings them out of darkness into the light by His permission and guides them to the straight path." Surah Al-Ma'idah, verses 15 and 16. Prophet Muhammad was well regarded for his standard of character and integrity long before he even received the first revelation at 40 years old. The Quraysh would hand him their valuables for safekeeping and would refer to him as Al-Amin, the most trustworthy. But despite carrying that reputation, he still faced heavy persecution from his people in Mecca as he remained there for the first 13 years of his mission, calling people to the religion of the one and only true God. The Meccan chiefs eventually resorted to plotting to kill Prophet Muhammad before Allah commanded him to migrate to another city. That blessed city was Yathrib, present-day Medina, and was also known as the home of peace and faith. And that is where the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, spent the subsequent 10 years of his life until Allah decided death for His chosen messenger. Before leaving Mecca, Prophet Muhammad left away all the valuables he was entrusted with his cousin Ali bin Abi Talib, so that they could be returned to their rightful owners. He upheld the highest level of integrity, even with his enemies, and even at the most dire situations. He truly was Al-Amin, as they called him, the most trustworthy. For 23 years, Prophet Muhammad worked tirelessly to spread the message of Islam. The first 13 years in Mecca were difficult on him and his companions as they endured torture, persecution, and even murder. The next 10 years in Medina, although under the banner of a new nation state, involved numerous battles. Despite the challenges, the period in Medina was a time of victory, prosperity, and growth. During that time, Islam began to spread to surrounding lands. The highlight of this 10-year period was the conquest of Mecca in the 8th year of migration. The Muslims managed to conquer Mecca without shedding any blood. They were able to return to Mecca once again. The Meccan period teaches us patience and perseverance in the path of truth. Most of revelation during this period was to strengthen the faith and resolve of the Muslims. When we look at the struggles of the early Muslims, it puts our own struggles into perspective and gives us encouragement and reassurance to keep us focused on higher objectives in the face of obstacles and calamity. The Medina period teaches us intricate details of our religion. Revelation during this period focused on law in its very detailed form. From this period, we learn intricate details on how Prophet Muhammad lived his life and how we need to live our lives. Prophet Muhammad was the most complete man, and his companions were the best of generations that has existed. If people as noble as them can be tested severely to the extent to which they were tested, it puts our tests and tribulations in perspective and strengthens our resolve in holding on to the beautiful religion of Islam.